I would rather be in the woods than having to pay rent every single month for the rest of my life and not actually get to live.
Hey everybody, you're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust back with another dose. And yes, people are finding all kinds of ways to get around paying rent, paying for housing, paying the cost of living, including moving to the woods. And we're going to talk about a few people here, but then go into a broader observation of what's happening nationally with the situation with people not being able to keep up with the cost of living. Please make sure you're subscribed. My name is JJ. You're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust. Let's go ahead and get into it right now. All right, people. First of all, before we move on, let's check this out here. Median rent in the U.S. is $1,398 per month. That's $1,398. That's according to Apartment List. That's up $5 compared to the previous month, but a decrease of $6 a month compared to May 2024. So year over year, big deal. We're only down $6, right? Considering how unaffordable everything is, it should be coming down much faster. All right. Median rent $1,398. This is taking about, let's see here, a lot of money here. 49% of renters were considered cost burdened, meaning their rent consumed over 30% of their income, folks. That's a lot. About 1/3 of your income going just towards housing. It doesn't leave much for everything else, does it? And that's about half of the people, folks, 49%. And of course, this varies from state to state. You have states like Hawaii where the median rent is $1,868, while Arkansas has a median rent of only $868. That's per data from Apartment List and from AI by Google. But let's go back to my man over here, Scar in the Woods, and he's right here on YouTube. So please go show him some love. Scar in the Woods. Now there's people out there saying that he's not the real deal, that he is doing this for for money, and he's just faking it. No, I've watched a few of his videos. I think he's living in the woods. He has a lot of skills and knowledge of a survivalist. So I definitely think he's the real deal. Let's just play a quick clip, and then we're going to move on to some other information and some other people also doing something similar to our guy here, Scar in the Woods. And let's let him finish up here. Basically saying to all the doubters, he doesn't want to do this, but he has to, probably for his own sanity. But take a listen.
I would rather be out here in nature where it's free, where I can do what I want. God, he put us into this world. We didn't ask to be here. So if we didn't ask to be here, why should we have to pay? Explain it to me so I can better understand it. But I've been stuck in this matrix for too long. As soon as I was able to work, I've been working. I don't think any job can get me rich. I don't even want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable.
I hear him. Some people, they don't want to be rich. They just want to be comfortable. They don't want to be stressed out about money. They don't want to do the 9-to-5 shuffle where you're possibly stuck on the freeway for who knows if you're commuting. We have people out here in California, people I know, people in my family here in California. I'm in San Diego, by the way. Most of you probably know. Commuting 45 minutes, an hour to work. I have people that live up near Los Angeles, a family that commute almost all the way to San Diego. I myself have lived in Riverside, which is the Inland Empire here in California, and had to commute to Orange County. It was about almost an hour each way. That was back about 15 years ago. So I've been on the highway grind and stuck in traffic jams. An hour each way commute, folks. That's 2 hours out of each day. It's 10 hours a week. If you look at it like that, folks, that's 40 hours a month. 10 hours a week is about 40 hours a month. You're spending another whole work week in traffic if you're driving an hour each way. That's insane. So I'm not sure if that's what happened to this guy here, Scar in the Woods, but I feel people's urgency to get out of the 9-to-5 hustle, and as he put it, the matrix. Get out of the matrix. But it's a very hard life, living in the woods, living in a tent, living in an RV, in a car, of course, very difficult, very hard. And what do you do if you have a family? I mean, this person's single. It sounds like it's just him and his dog, maybe more than one dog. But take a look at this next individual here, and it's a family of, I believe, 6 or 7 here. Look at this. All right, let's bring it up here. Sorry, usually have it all pulled up here, but something's acting funny. All right, let's take a listen here.
Of 8 living in a tent in a 24-foot camper by choice. You ever been so broke that you started budgeting out toilet paper squares? Gave up the house, gave up the bills.
She said budgeting out toilet paper squares. That's not funny. I shouldn't even laugh.
Gave up the fake idea of stability that was really just a paycheck to paycheck and panic attack. We worked 70 hours a week.
Paycheck to paycheck, close to 70% of the population.
To live a life that we can't even enjoy. So now
they worked 70 hours a week before making this decision.
Now we're doing it different. Budget style, chaos, hot dogs and hustle, baby. So here's a little bit of what our budget looks like with 6 kids, 3 dogs, and 2 exhausted parents.
Wow, 6 kids and 3 dogs, folks. Somebody in comments put down $54 a week in dog food. I'd be getting rid of the dogs. That's what somebody put. They said I'd be getting rid of the dogs. It depends on what you feel, the type of happiness that these dogs bring you. If they bring you happiness and companionship, then maybe $500 a week is worth it. I mean, wow, $50 a week for dog food, though. It's getting up there.
Dream that is going to cost us $10,000 in just 5 weeks. So for breakfast, not because it's easy, but because it's cheap. Values, cinnamon, toasty wannabes, $2.24. I mean, come on. Ramen noodles, hot dogs, sandwiches, one-pot meals, lots of rice and beans. Do paper plates because washing dishes in this 24-foot camper, $100 a month RV lot rent beats $1,600 a month mortgage, $1,600 a month rent, $4 a week for dog food. We do pickup orders, so we don't, grab and go. We're saving faster than ever. Let go of what looked normal.
Did she say $400 a month? Hang on.
What might finally be free. Tell me what's your best. I saved toasty wannabes, $2.24.
Sorry, I just have to get this
come on.
number here.
Ramen noodles, hot dogs, sandwiches, one-pot meals, lots of rice and beans. Do paper plates because washing dishes in this 24-foot camper, $100 a month RV.
$400 a month RV spot. I haven't went camping in a while. Is that expensive? Anyway, her name is its.me.nene. So its.me.nae. Look her up. I think she's on YouTube as well. So there you go, folks. That's what people are resorting to. And you all know this. You've seen the campers parked on the side of the road. If not in real life, you've seen them on videos. They're all over YouTube and other places here. And folks, rent's not coming down like it should, with affordability at the lowest it's been in decades for both buying a home and rents. Then you would think rents would be coming down very, very quickly. We started seeing a lot of layoffs in this country right away back in January. With this administration coming in with the layoffs, people saw that. Many people saw that and expected the economy to really come crashing down. They expected rents to drop, home prices to crash. Those things haven't happened. We're starting to see a shift in rents and a shift in home prices in the housing market, with a lot of inventory coming on the market recently, but nothing like a crash that so many people expected and anticipated, especially because the affordability right now in housing is worse than it was before the housing bubble went bust, right? So people are shocked and surprised right now at the cost of living here. But let's move on to some other news and some other examples of what people are resorting to escape the 9-to-5, to escape the hustle and bustle, the cost of living, the rent, the mortgages, all that. Also, you have more stories like this, multi-generational households. Here's one right here. ABC reported this: 4 generations living under one roof. More and more people doing that. A family member of mine is right now building a granny flat, or putting up a granny shack or flat, whatever you want to call it, in the yard. So he's got to pour the cement. He's going to do the well, all that stuff, and connect the septic and sewer and all that, for his mother not to live in a nursing home, saving tons of money on the nursing home, but more importantly, being close to family. I mean, if you can stand your family, obviously, if you're fist fighting with your family, that's not a good idea. But if you get along decently with your family, if you have a good family, then this is a good idea. And they're splitting, what I read here, they're splitting a $2,000 a month mortgage between 3 generations. So multiple people working, hopefully not too many people arguing and getting into each other's space and all that stuff that goes along with sharing a household. If you've ever had roommates, then you know how tight it can get and how somebody leaves a mess on the floor or wherever and nobody cleans it up, and then you got to tell them to clean it up. So there can be some drama. I've been there with both roommates and family. There can be some drama. But more people are having to do this. They're finding ways to live out in the woods, to live in an RV, multi-generational household, have the relatives move in, put the granny or maybe even the mother, maybe even the little kid in the backyard. Just kidding. Maybe, maybe not. Kids can be tough. Put them in the granny flat. And speaking of RVs, I had bought an RV about 6 years ago when I was really wanting to prepare and get ready for the fires. We have crazy fires out here in California, as most of you probably have heard. And I wanted to be prepared to be able to just pack up stuff and get into an RV and go. But we ended up selling it. The parking was really ridiculous. I don't have much parking in my home right now. I've been waiting for a long time for a correction so I can upgrade to a bigger home. Maybe sell this one, maybe rent this one out. But with my family size right now, my home's getting too small. I'm lucky to even have a home. Like, again, people are living in the woods and tents and RVs, etc. But ended up selling it. It had some mechanical problems and the parking situation. Hopefully I'll be able to buy one, not to live in, but to have it there in case of an emergency, or maybe to live in, depending on how things go financially. I mean, this country's going through a lot of changes right now. And we're on the brink of another big war. I shouldn't even say on the brink. There is another big war. It's just how deeply involved is the U.S. going to be? And there's even people out there talking about they're afraid that they're going to reinstate the draft because so few people are enlisting to go join the forces, right, so to speak. So a lot of things are going to be happening, folks. They've been happening. I shouldn't say gonna. They're happening now. And big shifts in the economy, the markets, the rental market, of course, the stock market's still strong, even with all the chaos and uncertainty happening right now. Stock market's still strong. You have the invisible whale, what we call them, the whale buyers that come in and buy up these markets. Obviously, somebody out there or some people with big money are buying up the markets, unafraid, unconcerned, not concerned at all about any sort of calamity that would bring the markets down. It's pretty amazing. And in fact, here's another headline here. Look at this. NASDAQ 100 hits record as tech stocks soar. Folks, we told you, no matter what kind of uncertainty is happening, the example I gave here is World War III can break out and the markets would still go higher, right? But what we've seen a lot of time is we see the big money, the whales, that own most of the stocks, by the way. We have the top 10% own about 90% of stocks. What they'll do is they'll sell off during a moment of panic or chaos like 2020. We saw a sell off in the markets. What did they do a few weeks later? Came and bought up at the bottom or bought the dip. It was a big dip. They bought the dip, pushed the markets back up to all-time highs. So I continue to hold some cash waiting for that scare, waiting for that dip, but at the same time still being in the markets somewhat to still take advantage of further upside. I mean, look at this. NASDAQ 100 hit a record high, even amidst everything happening right now. Can you think of a more chaotic and uncertain time in this country? I mean, unless you're 90 years old and lived through the Great Depression, there's not much that we've seen that equals the level of uncertainty right now. Of course, we had all kinds of events you can point to, short-term events, but on a broad, larger scale, things are looking long-term pretty chaotic and pretty uncertain right now. All right, but moving on to another topic here, still on the high cost of living. In this case, the cost of food. In this case, the cost of fast food. We have McDonald's out there, or I shouldn't say McDonald's, people saying they're going to boycott McDonald's. McDonald's is the latest target of a grassroots economic blackout campaign that previously targeted other major companies. The People's Union USA is now calling for people to boycott McDonald's beginning Tuesday, which was yesterday, through next Monday, explaining online that they're demanding fair taxes and an end to price gouging, real equity, and corporate accountability. So, folks, that's a tough one there. I mean, you want big companies like McDonald's to pay more wages to their workers and stop keeping so much of the profits and so much of the wealth at the top. So what you'd have to do, though, is you'd have to completely eliminate any sort of free market and have there be some sort of regulations against how much the CEO can make. And then you start having to have other laws in place, like in California, $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers. But what we're seeing here is people no longer getting fast food like they used to. We're seeing a big drop off in people getting the fast food. So what some people think is a solution often and just about always leads to more problems. And that's the problem. There's no easy solution, folks. What people think are the solution just brings up another set of problems. So now you pay $20 an hour to fast food workers here in California, and they raise food prices for everybody. So now the same food, or the same people that have to also buy food themselves, they're also consumers, have to pay more when they go out to eat. So then what's the solution? Avoid going to fast food places. Well, then you don't need the workers, do you? So then you have more layoffs, folks. It's all crazy. It's all twisted upside down, backwards and inside out, you name it. What do you think about this, though? Scar in the Woods, living off grid there, out there. Check him out. Please give him a shout out in comments if you go to his channel. Tell him we sent you from Bull Boom Bear Bust if you haven't already heard of him. Either way, let me know your comments down below, folks. As always, keep stacking and keep your notifications on. I almost forgot what it's called. Notifications, so you can come back for more updates on this channel. As always, big love. Keep stacking. Bye for now. Peace.